Okay, since I did a video about how to make this crappy looking cardboard fingerboard a couple days ago, I figured it'd be time to make a follow-up video now that it's fully cured or dried, whatever. So it's doing pretty good. It's not bending too much. I think it's ready to be sanded. So, well, obviously you probably saw the thumbnail. This is the sanding process. So instead of getting something and cutting it out, you probably need like a bandsaw or something to do that. It's easier to just sand it down. It does take a little longer, but it might even be a little bit more precise, because as you can see, I already have the shape all cut out, and so now all I need to do that I got the shape cut out is just sand it down to the right shape. So the things you're gonna need is some sandpaper, the best grid you can find, or like the smaller the number, the better it'll do. And then you're gonna probably need, this isn't necessary, but you're probably gonna want a sanding sponge. I just picked this one up from like Walmart. You can find them anywhere. You're gonna want to need a sanding sponge. One side's usually a little bit of a thicker grid than the other. Like, I'm pretty sure it says this one's an 80, this one's a 60. You can see right there. And so, yeah, I guess we just better get to sanding this. Oh, but there is one more thing you'll need, is these scissors. I know it's kind of weird, but this isn't necessary at all. So just to make it a little bit faster, if you want to, you can just cut off these corners. And the reason you shouldn't just cut all the way around it is because when you're cutting, it'll be like paper. If you apply too much force, it'll end up bending it, and it'll end up cracking all the glue inside. And I've tried it before just to see what would happen, and it cracked, and it absolutely destroyed it. I could go get the example and show you real quick, I guess. I'll be right back. Alright, I got it. Sorry about the bit of the camera change. It just looked a little better to me. And so this is the one that I tried cutting. I worked really hard on this decal. I actually think it's definitely the coolest one I made, but unfortunately I made the mistake of trying to cut it because I was in a little bit of a rush. So I just ended up cutting out the shape of it, and I was going to sand it, but then soon after that I realized that since I cut it, it's just fully just garbage. It's just like if you know, taped paper together. There's literally there was no chance for it. It bends with any sort of little pressure. With this, I apply the same pressure and nearly nothing happens. So I think this one's ready to sand. And as of this one, what I'm going to do with this one is, long story short, okay. So I think I better just cut to the chase. You know what to do. I'm going to start sanding this down, and I'll show you everything you need to do along the way. After you're done sanding down all the edges to your preferred shape, well, first off, this is what happens sometimes. It doesn't happen very often, but it seems this time it seems to have gotten a bit weaker over this with the sanding process. But I don't know. I think I might have put in a little bit, well, not quite enough glue in the middle of those layers. I thought I did, but maybe I just put a little bit, not enough, because I was running low on glue, so I kind of had to spread it out evenly. But this is just an example. So if you were going to go back and watch that video, I would recommend putting at least a little bit more glue on it. So just a little bit of a heads up. This one is still going to be fine, but like it's fine to sand right now, but as you can see, it's bending a little bit. So just to be aware of that. Okay, so anyway, the next step is going to be, you're going to want to cut off the edges just a little bit, with maybe like 2 or so millimeters away from the actual board itself. Here, I'll just do it real quick so I can show you. About there. That's about how far in you want to cut it. Maybe a little bit further. I might go a little bit further. Maybe something like that, and you're going to want to do that to all the edges. This is just to make it a little faster. You don't need to do this. There we go. Well, I think that's looking pretty decent. It's not feeling too good, but for demonstration purposes, it's fine. So yeah, I'll go back to the time lapse. So after you've obtained your desired shape in the board, I've just done a rough job. Like this is just for video purposes. You're gonna want to sand down the edges and make them to your desired roundness, and you should be good. Like I said, this board didn't turn out too good. I kind of rushed it, so don't rush it. If you're gonna make one of these, make sure to do everything the best you possibly can. That's kind of the method to make it look the best. So, but yeah, I think overall this has been a good experience. This would be fun for you to do. I don't know. I'm just gonna round up the edges and I'll show you last thing to do. After that, well, yeah. The trucks you don't really need to put on. You can put them on if you want. Obviously, they help give you more pop. So, I'm not sure if I'll end up putting the trucks on these. I might end up just giving it to my friend because I got plenty of these. So, I might put the trucks on and give it to him, or I might keep the trucks off and give it to him. But either way, if you put in the trucks, all you're really going to want to do is line up the tech you used to mold it, put it in the right spot, and then get something to screw into it, and put the a thumbtack in it, and put the holes in. And then what you're going to want to do is you want to get a screw bigger than the normal tech screw, and then you're going to screw that in. And then from there you can go back here and put in your regular screw, and it should fit perfectly, and you should be able to screw it in, make some countersinks if your board's a little bit too thick. Yes, if your board's too thick, you can do that. So, yeah. And then you put the trucks on, and then you put grip tape on, whatever you want to do to put grip tape on. I'll leave that completely up to you. So if you're making this board, try to make it as custom as you can. Don't. This is just some rough ideas of what you need to do. This isn't exactly what you need to do, but just so you know the basis of how to make one of these. So we'll go back to the time lapse, and I'll show you the finished product. Alright, so I just finished sanding down the edges, refining the shape that I want, and I think this thing turned out decent. The only thing that really didn't turn out too good is the the glue. It didn't seem to harden up enough. Like I gave it 3 days. That's how long it usually takes, and it just didn't seem to harden up as much. But I just think it's because I didn't use as much glue as I should have. So, just a little note: use a bit more glue. That'll probably help you. Oh, and if you have thicker cardboard too. This cardboard that I used here was in the thinner stash, so yeah, that's probably mostly my fault. But just saying, it'll probably yours will probably turn out better than mine. This is just an example. But yeah, chuck some grip tape on it, chuck some trucks on there, and I think that you got a board that'll do you good for a while. If done right, I have found that a lot of them can be well stronger than most tech decks are. So I hope anybody who's watched this has enjoyed watching, and yeah, I'll most likely see you next time I do something like this. So thanks for watching, and have fun with your fingerboard.